from MTN, the Montana Television Network. This is Face the State.
Through the year of 2014, their stories have touched our lives.
If you're gonna do it, go do it and don't turn back.
From overcoming challenges to a helping hand that's been given to others.
Because I got to meet an awesome family in Great Falls.
And now, during this holiday season, their stories are inspiring a message of hope.
Just to have her back in my arms, I wanted to do it in a special way coming home.
Hope for the holidays on Face the State starts right now.
And good Sunday morning. Welcome to this edition of Face the State, Hope for the Holidays. I'm Devontae McKenneth. On behalf of the entire MTN network, we thank you for joining us this morning. Throughout the course of the next 30 minutes, we'll listen to several stories from across the state, stories that have brought a strong message throughout the entire year. There'll also be stories that we can learn something from, something that we can take into 2015. Our first story this morning takes us to Laurel High School. It's tough enough just being a teenager, but imagine standing out. Kids find all kinds of things to pick on each other for, and being different is typically considered a bad thing. But one student at Laurel High School stands out, and she's not ashamed of it. Shay Wiggins isn't your typical high school student. A medical condition caused her to lose her hair at a young age. And despite steroid shots and other attempts to get it all back, nothing seemed to work. MTN's Asia Gore has our story.
I only had one bald spot at the time and it fixed it, and I was like, okay, we're fine, we're back to normal. It's not gonna happen anymore. Then a year later, I had a bunch of more patches fall out, and I was like, okay, it's getting pretty serious.
The first time I saw missing hair, it scared me, of course. I didn't know what it was. It was very small, so I wasn't super stressed because I had no idea what it was. But we went to the doctor, and immediately he said, yes, it's alopecia.
Alopecia is a medical condition that causes the body's immune system to attack and kill hair follicles. Shay was in 6th grade when she was diagnosed.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't want people to know. This is embarrassing.
So Shay and her mother decided to buy wigs. But this was no cheap solution. The wigs cost up to $600 a piece. And because hair isn't considered medically necessary, there was no break from insurance either.
It was just stressful, your image and, what people think of you and, the beauty, the outside beauty, and our boy's going to like you.
Shay wore the wigs for a few years, keeping it a secret from nearly everyone she knew. But soon that secret would have to come out.
When it got to cross country, we were going to have overnight trips when we traveled, and I was like, well, I can't not tell anyone. When I sleep at night, I'm not going to wear a wig, and so I have to tell someone.
That someone ended up being a couple of people, her track coach and some close friends. What started out with these friends grew to a confidence that Shay no longer wanted to hide, so she took it to the web.
Her and her friends started talking about doing this video, and I was like, go for it. And then I came home one day from work, and her girlfriend had already done it.
I don't have hair. That's what I'm going to show you. So here we go. And this is the real me.
She posted that video to Facebook telling the world about her condition and how she wasn't afraid anymore.
I was just to the point, I don't want to wear a wig anymore. I don't want to hide this anymore. People know already, but they're not saying anything.
And if there were people that didn't know before, they would soon, because Shay left the wig at home and went to school.
I was hoping, of course, she would embrace this condition and take her hair off sometime. I didn't think it would be this soon.
But the 16-year-old isn't wasting any time being herself.
It almost makes me who I am. Having the disease has taught me more than anything else, because it's taught me that you're different than everybody else. You don't look the same, which I love. It makes me unique. It makes me stronger as a person.
And when Shay's not feeling as strong, well, she runs.
Running's just one of those things that when you're having a bad day or you just need something to do to relax your mind, I go run, and it just, it frees your mind. You don't have a worry. You just get out there and do it.
Just do it. That's her approach. And she hopes that others, those with alopecia or any special condition, embrace what they have and, figuratively speaking, throw the wigs in the trash.
If you're going to do it, go do it and don't turn back. If you set your mind to something, you can do it. You can do anything. And that's how I am. That's what's in my head. You can do anything. You can accomplish anything you want if you try.
Asia, thank you. The video Shay posted on Facebook has more than 1,500 views so far, and she says she would love the opportunity to inspire others who are afraid to share their secrets. And alopecia is just one of many medical conditions our community continues to face this holiday season. But imagine being diagnosed with an aggressive cancer with a grim chance of survival in a state where assisted suicide was legal. Would you spare yourself the pain or choose to try and fight through it? MTN's Laura Wilson reports.
After taking a fall and hitting her head on the ice nearly 3 years ago, Whitefish resident Kelsey Timothy decided to go in for a CAT scan as a precautionary measure.
I didn't even know if there was going to be a concussion. I just felt like it was better to be safe than sorry. We found that I had a 2-inch by 2-inch tumor, so the size of a baseball, pretty much. It was just nuts. I was 24, and I had a tumor. Unbelievable.
Timothy had a glioblastoma tumor, which are often highly cancerous. It wasn't until after the surgery that doctors discovered she was in stage 4 of the aggressive cancer.
That was when I asked what the prognosis was. And he told me I had 12% chance to make it 2 years. That's when it really sunk in that this is serious. This could be it. I could be dead by the time I'm 26.
Choosing to fight the odds that were heavily stacked against her, the 24-year-old immediately began chemotherapy.
I have things I needed to do, and so dying just wasn't in the cards.
And there's us looking back up at Mount Reynolds after we hiked it. Super fun day. Sometimes we just live so much day to day that we forget it's even going on. And I think maybe that's partly why she's done so well.
Having reached the 2-year mark earlier this year, Timothy's chances of surviving 5 years post-diagnosis have increased to 36%, and currently she's tumor-free. She stands on the other side of a very heated debate recently re-sparked by 29-year-old Oregon resident Brittany Maynard, who publicly announced she was going to take her own life under the Death with Dignity Act. Maynard and Timothy were both diagnosed with glioblastoma.
Cancer is ending my life. I am choosing to end it a little sooner and in a lot less pain and suffering.
I had blown up from steroids. I had lost all my hair. I understand that, so I can really relate to her. But I'm still living, and I think that's the difference, is I chose life.
And that's why she hopes Maynard's situation won't automatically associate a glioblastoma diagnosis with a death sentence.
I can honestly say I haven't felt healthy and good in 3 years. But I just don't want any new patients diagnosed to think that there aren't options and that you won't have a beautiful, amazing, awesome life, because I know that I do.
I mean, we just have so much good stuff to come, and we live for that just like anyone else would. It's exciting, the anticipation of what the next adventure is.
Laura, thank you. Kelsey says choosing to live was the only option and that she feels the need to be present with her boyfriend to continue that relationship and also be here for her family. She says there was no other choice but to fight. And fighting for our freedom, tons and tons of soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen do it every day. But for some who are deployed this holiday season, it's even tougher for them. Missing out on family time, maybe missing their children's first Christmas. For some, it's a reality, but for others, they're considering themselves lucky being able to be here for the holidays. Now, back in July, it was an emotional and long-awaited day at the Great Falls International Airport. 16 airmen from Malmstrom Air Force Base returned home after spending 6 months in Afghanistan and other Southwest Asian countries. MTN's Cody Proctor was there as families were reunited.
5-month-old Azara Roberts has never met her father, but that all changed on Tuesday afternoon. As dozens of people waited for their loved ones at Great Falls International Airport, the little girl, her brother Zayden, and her mother Desiree waited impatiently for Senior Airman Clerion Roberts, one of the 341st Civil Engineer Squadron members returning after spending about half a year overseas.
It almost feels like a first date all over again. You get the nervous butterflies and excitement.
The 16 airmen left Great Falls in early January, training first in Texas before flying to Southwest Asia. There, they helped the 577th Expeditionary Prime Beef Squadron with tasks such as construction, maintenance, and retrograding large shelters in Afghanistan so they can be used for future missions. Though being deployed takes a toll not only on the airmen, but their families as well.
I didn't really think military life was all that difficult until I had to go through a deployment. And then it kind of hits you that this is not the easiest job for them or for us. So it's definitely hard.
First Lieutenant Rob Puquet Martin says the mission overseas is worth it, but admits it's nice to come home.
It's really rewarding what they did, but it's even nicer coming home, to see that, yeah, things have changed while they were gone, but they're still cared about, still loved, and it's nice to take a break for a while.
And as the airmen walked through the airport terminal, they were greeted with big hugs and long-awaited first impressions.
And although this is a separate holiday, it goes hand in hand with the story you just saw from MTN's Cody Proctor. 9/11 doesn't get easier from year to year, but it's allowing the nation to become stronger and allowing us to bring about a sense of unity. It's also giving us the chance to find a message of hope this holiday season.
13 years after small and hateful minds conspired to break us, America stands tall and America stands proud.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
I was in 3rd grade.
I was in 2nd grade, and I was sitting in the library. I think I was 13.
And to the republic for which it stands.
They turned the news on, and we watched the news, and it was just in time to watch the second plane go into the tower.
Just watching that plane hit the buildings like it did, it was just heart-stopping in general, and then I had so much anger at the time.
I also remember sitting in our classroom in 3rd grade and being with our teacher, and she shut off half the lights and we just listened to the radio most of the day, just trying to understand what was going on.
One nation, under God, indivisible.
This is our country, and it really impacted me.
I would always wanted to serve in the military, since I was young, but I think that day it pushed me to wanting to join the Army or the Marines.
There were so many people that sacrificed their lives, and so I think that it's really important to remember those people and to also remember the victims of the tragedy and just remembering their families and their loved ones and what they had to go through as well.
With liberty and justice for all.
Simone, great piece, thank you. As we enjoy this 2015 holiday season, it's important to understand that those who are serving, have served, or even will serve symbolizes what our country stands for: courage, freedom, integrity, and hope. We'll be right back.
Meet Angel. She's just 13 years old. She loves art, but someday says she wants to work in a group home helping kids.
I love to draw. I love to read and just paint.
And although a bit camera shy, she uses these 3 words to describe herself:
playful, funny, and interesting.
She's looking for her forever home and hopes it might even include a big sister.
Somebody to look up to. Probably just having a friend.
Along with patience and unconditional love, she hopes her family is fun. Her dream family vacation would be to the happiest place on Earth.
Disney World, because I finally got over flying on an airplane.
In Billings, Simone D'Alba, MTN News.
From MTN, the Montana Television Network, this is Face the State.
And welcome back. More than likely, your family pet is having a great holiday season as well, especially since studies show pets can have profound effects on people. MTN's Donna Kelly reports that unconditional love and the buddy system seems to be working for one boy and his dog.
I found her. She was sleeping on my bed.
Christian Everett is a teenager of few words. He's autistic and determined. Hopped on his computer, called up Heart of the Valley Animal Shelter, and found a Catahoula Greyhound mixed dog.
Kind of love at first sight.
Yes, except Tallulah, the dog, is blind.
I don't think she knows she's blind.
Could the boy who doesn't talk much and the dog that cannot see have a special communication and bond? I think that translates into a yes. In any language.
She jumped on Christian, I think. Then we knew that it was going to work out.
Treat, huh? We share food, pizza, chicken nuggets, and have a hot dog.
The difference Tallulah's made has been pretty miraculous.
They've got such a neat connection. Christian opens up more. I think we're all happy that she's here with us.
And the family brings Tallulah out to this single dog exercise area, and they can let him run wild.
I got you. I got you.
Adding a pet is adding another member to the family, and sometimes it can be hard to get past getting the perfect little puppy.
Oh, we were just absolutely, enchanted by the family and the fact that Christian really knew about the dog and had a sense.
Homan says there are benefits to getting an older or special needs dog. You get to see more of what you get, including personality and the special matches.
Sometimes we see that, and you don't want to get in the way of those magical connections.
The Everetts encourage adopting a special needs pet.
I'd say do it. They're great. Whether the dog is blind or deaf or is missing a couple limbs, doesn't matter. They need love too.
And challenges can certainly make you appreciate love all the more and realize the love doesn't have to be perfect, just given.
Great story, Donna. Thank you. Right now, I want to switch over to some great stories in the sports scene. Some things are bigger than wins and losses. What happened in Laurel on a Saturday night in February qualifies in that category. A student manager by the name of Seth Kraft made his first ever appearance on the court for Laurel starting on senior night against Senior High. Kraft has been with the team for years, and anyone around the program will say he knows more about Montana high school basketball than most. It led to a heartwarming story, and MTN's Casey Connellan reports.
Seth Kraft knows hoops. He asked me questions about the conference that most coaches won't ask me.
He loves the game of basketball, especially high school.
Specifically, Kraft knows as much about Laurel hoops as anyone in the program. So when head coach Pat Hansen decided to let Kraft suit up with the squad last summer, he wasn't surprised with what happened.
Dylan puts a full court trap, they trap Seth, and he's got a great basketball knowledge. Steps through the trap, hits a kid circling through, and next you know he's talking trash like Larry Bird.
Kraft has been a student manager and quasi-coach for the Locomotives for the past 4 years, but as a little person, he's been relegated to the sidelines. But after last summer's performance, Hansen told him that was going to change this year.
I begged him actually to play on Central because, number one rivalry, and, I know a lot of those guys, but senior night was perfect.
Senior night was Saturday, so was Kraft's birthday, fitting for his first and last game on the Locos court. It was a non-conference tilt against Senior with a state title atmosphere.
People are finding out more and more, as it got closer to the weekend, and so Saturday came and he was all pumped up, and got in the game and the crowd went nuts.
Kraft had been running with the Locos all week, and the crowd unleashed the loudest roar we've heard all year when he was introduced as a starter. They were all ready to see one thing, and early on, the Locos ran the dribble handoff, waiting for him to let it fly. But he passed, and then on their next trip, he passed again. Was Kraft trolling his own crowd?
I was afraid he wasn't going to take that first shot because he lives for giving the ball up.
He said he wanted assists, he wanted to score, but he wanted to have assists too. I think he just didn't want it to be all about him.
I wasn't afraid to score, but if Evan's open on the arc, he's one of the best shooters in the state. If he's open, or him or Taylor are open, two deadly shooters, I'm going to pass it to them first. I don't really care. I just want to win. I don't care if I score.
That's all well and good, Seth, but give the crowd what they want. And then he did.
Well, I saw it opening, and, Jory England, good friend of mine, kind of let me go through, and they were boxing out with the other guys, so I took it and made it. It was sweet, just all the fans, and we were down, and I wanted to get the fans riled up, and I got us going pretty good.
He was pumped up. He was trying to get the crowd involved, and they were loud, and it's something I'll never forget.
You mentioned it now, it brings those goosebumps that your body just tingles. That it's something you'll never forget. It's something that nobody can ever take back from you, and it's something that Seth is well deserved.
Kraft's introductory crowd noise record stood for about 5 minutes. His phone still hasn't died yet.
I never thought, even like just Sunday, it was like crazy. I was getting all these notifications, and now everybody's trying to get on SportsCenter. And right when we were driving up to practice, people were like freaking out. Oh, you're on Bleacher Report now and stuff. I couldn't believe that.
Laurel came back to beat seniors Saturday, making Kraft a perfect 1-0 in his playing career, exactly how he drew it up.
You know, on your last home court, I mean, I didn't know how special it was just because, you know, how I wanted to play against Central. But when you think about it more and more, that was the perfect time, you know. Go out with a bang, and I think it was just crazy.
There's just one thing we have to change. It's no longer Seth Kraft knows hoops. It's Seth Kraft gets bucket.
Casey, thank you. That story came from Q2 News in Billings. According to the sports department there, they say even though all of this took place back in February, that was the shot of the year, and no further applications would be accepted. And keeping on the sports theme this morning, it's only natural in high school football. Players graduate, coaches move on, and sidelines change. But as MTN's Brenna Green found out, for many years there has been one constant in Conrad, and this constant happens to be the heart and soul of the Cowboys.
And what is the biggest lesson you've learned from him?
That Conrad's number one.
This is Conrad High School football coach Chad Baker. He has Down syndrome, but the word down is definitely not the way to describe him.
I'll tell me on TV and I'm a microphone on.
Comes in here probably most positive on the team. He's always trying to get us better. Always happy, always a smile on his face, getting us going every day.
Baker is as committed as they come. So committed, in fact, that he knew exactly where to go when head coach Mick Morris moved into town 2 summers ago.
White 6.
White 6. White 6. I think he was there the day we moved in or the day after, so he's actually the first guy I met in Conrad. Came in, introduced himself, and said he had been a member of the football team, and I asked him if he wanted to continue, and he's been here about every day since.
And it's fitting that Morris met Baker first because he is definitely a hometown celebrity.
I think the one thing living in Conrad is it doesn't matter who you talk to, somebody's got a story about Chad. He's one of ours, and Chad's one of Conrad.
Coach Baker has not only affected the people in Conrad. According to his dad, he's also pretty well known in the surrounding communities as well.
He goes to different towns, and we go to gymnasiums, and they'll say, "Hi, Chad." People have never seen me before in my life. You go to Shelby, you go to Shoulder, you go to Cutbank, go to Fairfield. They all know Chad, but Dad doesn't know him.
But Coach Baker isn't just social. He's actually pretty heavily involved in play calling as well.
No joke, he calls probably at least 5 to 6 plays a game. He usually gets the first play every game, so I think he's called 3 touchdowns so far, which is, pretty good. He's got a good knack for it. And we call him Chad Baker, the touchdown maker, because he does well.
Make no mistake, Coach Baker wants a W. But in his own words, you can see how much he cares for the team.
I'm proud of you on my heart. I love my boys. I'm very well. Go to them.
Brenna, thank you. As of this broadcast, the Conrad Cowboys had an overall score of 9-3 with a state ranking of 22. And it's a picture that could be worth 1,000 more. A Sentinel High School student's passion for vacuum cleaners went viral this year back in June. MTN's Joe Valley has his story.
Marcus Bartlett is cleaning up these days.
It's just really fun to see everybody's faces smile because they like my artwork.
His fondness for vacuum cleaners is about to make him a little famous. Marcus, who has autism, has always loved Hoovers.
Without vacuum cleaners, your house would be filthy. Hoover just seems to be one of the greatest brands because people like it because it really cleans the carpets really well.
So one day in media arts class, he drew this picture of a vintage Hoover, and his teacher sent it in to the Hoover people.
Marcus had been drawing vacuums for a while, and they were so beautiful, and I really enjoy his artwork. So I thought, somebody should see this at Hoover. And so I had Marcus write a little letter, and I wrote a little cover letter, and we sent 4 drawings in to Hoover. And we didn't think much more about it until 5 days later, Hoover called.
And then this showed up on YouTube.
A young man with autism in Montana drew us this picture. His name is Marcus. We thought it was great, and we wanted to do something really cool for Marcus in return, but we need your help.
The company wants everyone to download a picture of Marcus's vacuum cleaner and put it on their refrigerators, in their home, anywhere really. Then take a picture of it and put it online to see just how far this little picture can go.
Post it on our Facebook wall, tag us at Hoover USA, or you can even email it to me personally. I'll make sure Marcus gets all these pictures.
Marcus being famous is one thing, people liking his artwork is another, but this all goes deeper than that.
Just to see that my artwork was everywhere and, you know, to let other people know that it doesn't matter if you're autistic, you can be just as good as anybody.
Jill, thank you. 2 months later, the school held a surprise assembly where Hoover presented Marcus with the real vacuum cleaner they created just for him that matched his picture. And finally this morning, I leave you with a story that involves a young man who says he would not be in Great Falls if it wasn't for a particular family. And actually, this time last year, he was worried about not having a family to spend the holidays with. But thanks to a new program called Great Falls Great Friends, he now has a home away from home.
Because I got to meet an awesome family in Great Falls.
Creating new relationships in the Electric City since last fall, the Great Falls Great Friends program continues to unite airmen and families together.
We just want to make sure he feels like he's got a support group here, family, and that's what we want to provide for him.
They're like it's like a home away from home.
Meet Joseph, an airman at Malmstrom who came to Great Falls back in September of 2013. He applied for and started the Great Falls Great Friends program just before Christmas.
I was wondering if I was going to get stuck with like some old couple who are totally still stuck in the 50s.
But little did he know that will be the last thing he would need to worry about.
We can't wait for summer to take Joseph boating with us and teach him, you know, the fun things we like to do that he's never got to do before.
The mission of the program is simply just to make sure airmen will have a home away from home.
Great Falls wouldn't be the way it is without Malmstrom, and we're very fortunate to have it here. So when you get that tie put together and the bond becomes closer, it's just better for everybody.
It does become another family member or a close person in your life, and we'll probably have to, I'm sure we'll have ties forever.
And those ties that he will keep throughout his time in the military is something very important to Joseph, because without them, Great Falls would not be the same.
Without him, Great Falls would have been a terrible experience. I think I would hate Great Falls.
However, hating Great Falls is no longer an option,
which is a huge blessing.
Especially now, since he can find love inside his new home.
I cannot even begin to think of anything more important than family and friends.
And even around our community.
Friends now say, hey, don't forget to invite Joe, bring him along too.
Joseph, welcome home, buddy. Welcome home. And that will do it for this edition of Face the State. We hope you enjoyed the program, and if you missed anything this morning, you can find the entire show on your local MTN station's website later this week. From all of us here at MTN, thanks for watching and happy holidays.
You've been watching Face the State, a presentation of MTN, the Montana Television Network.